All right, how's everyone doing this evening? Good. I'm glad no one's sitting up front because I talk juicy sometimes. So really excited to spend a couple of minutes with you guys. And we just returned a couple of weeks ago from our trip down to the church at Ambala Avenue in Ibagué, Colombia. So we're going to be sharing a report and just give a quick update. And I figured if Andrew can wear his Tanzanian outfit, and Gary and Matt and Ryan can wear their flowered leis, I will wear the Colombia national jersey for their soccer team. And so that's the closest thing they have to a uniform. And when you're on the streets there on a game day, legit a minimum of 30 to 40% of the people you will see will be wearing the national jersey. So it's just the way it is. That being said, while we were down there, a lot of times when we'd have a meal together, we'd kick off with a prayer. And since a lot of us didn't speak English and a lot of us didn't speak Spanish, it would be bilingual. And so I thought I would just kick off our thoughts tonight with a quick prayer. And I'll try to do it, translated the same way I did when we were around the dinner table. So if you guys would like to bow, let's give thanks. Dios Padre Celestial, gracias por este día. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Gracias por este tiempo que podemos tener juntos. Thank you for this time that we can have together. Gracias que pudimos tener un viaje bueno, seguro y ayudante a los hermanos allí. Thank you that we could have a great, safe, and helpful trip to the brothers there. Señor, ayudarnos esta noche a compartir con ustedes las cosas buenas que estás haciendo alrededor del mundo. Dear Lord, please help us share tonight the great things you are doing around the world. Ayudarnos a compartir nuestros corazones y nuestros pensamientos en una manera adecuada. Please help us share our hearts and our thoughts in an adept and adequate way. Y por favor, ayudar que edifica toda esta reunión y también a las personas en otras partes. And please help this to edify the group here and also in other places. En el nombre de tu Hijo, Jesucristo, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, amen. So I just want to, I get the privilege of just giving a little background and sharing. And then Caleb Hart and Chris Hagam are going to share also. I first want to say more than anything, thank you to this group, thank you to the elders, thank you to the members that were a part of supporting us to be down there. It was uplifting and edifying to the group down there for sure, also to us. And we're probably going to step on each other's toes a little bit this evening. But as Isaac said this morning, if you hear it 3 times, it's because it's important. So if we repeat each other, that's okay. It was great to be down there with Caleb and Chris. And they definitely come from a different kind of sets of skills and talents than I do, and so to be down there with them, to get to know them better, for me personally, it was a privilege, and so I've said thank you to them already, but I want to say thank you publicly to them. And then also to all of you that supported, and there were a lot of people that helped out outside of the church, that some gave a little, some gave a lot. I know there are some people that gave more than they should have. We're grateful, and every single bit of that went to benefit the Christians down there. So I just want to say a heartfelt thank you. I want to give a little bit of info about Ibagué, about Colombia, just so you'll get a better feel for where we're working. And that's actually a picture from our hotel in Ibagué. So you can see it's in the mountains. It's actually quite a large city. Ibagué, according to modern, whatever that's called, where they ask how many people live there. According to Wikipedia, Ibagué has almost 700,000 inhabitants. It is the capital of what they don't have states down there, they have departments. It's the capital of the department of Tolima. It's a beautiful city. I mean, it would be considered by us kind of like cloud forest, if you've ever seen Costa Rica or things like that. While we were down there, it was I think a high of 78 degrees and a low of 64. Very green, very beautiful. Colombia, for instance, is a very diverse country. They might share more, but it's about if you flew straight from Tampa to Bogota, it'd be a 3-hour flight. On a commercial flight, it's about 3.5 hours. So it's the same distance from here to New York City. But it's one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. So the Andes actually split up into 3 spines in Colombia. And Ibagué sits in the central spine of the Andes there. It's on the equator, so the weather really doesn't, the temperature doesn't change during the seasons. It just gets wetter and drier. 20% of the birds in the world, the bird species in the world, live in Colombia. It's incredibly biodiverse. When you go to the grocery store or the fruit market, you will see things you've never seen because there are fruits that only grow in Colombia that are never exported somewhere else. Tolima, where Ibagué is the capital of, is the 3rd largest coffee grower in Colombia, which when my wife came here from Colombia, people would ask her if she knew Juan Valdez, and she's like, this dude must be famous here because I've never heard of him. And everyone's asking me, like, have you heard of Juan Valdez? She thought he was a musician or something like that. That was their marketing campaign to the U.S. Now Juan Valdez is like their version of Starbucks, so people know who Juan Valdez is in Colombia now. So it's a very rich country in minerals and resources. There's oil, gold, silver, platinum, emeralds, lots of farmland, very green. When you're flying, you'll see green everywhere. And then just based on the altitude is what the temperature is. So it would range on the coast from 110 degrees on the Caribbean or Pacific or the Amazon. And then there are some places where the glaciers never melt up high in the Andes. So a very diverse country, just to kind of give you a feel for everything. So that's the look of Ibagué out the window of the hotel. A couple of things we just want to cover. I want to cover a little bit about Ibagué. Want to introduce you to Jose Luis and Marta's family. And then Chris and Caleb are going to take over and talk about the congregation, some highlights, and some of the things we did down there. So this was from the airplane, I believe, landing into Ibagué. Lots of farmland, and then it butts right up to the Andes Mountains. And so you can take a 10-minute drive, and it can drop 5 to 10 degrees in a quick drive. So a lot of farmland, a lot of rice. It's just a very agricultural place. About Ibagué, it's 100 miles west of Bogota, which is the capital. So Bogota is a 3.5-hour flight from Tampa. And then if you take a bus from Bogota to Ibagué, it's about 5 hours. If you fly and you just have a smooth, great flight, it's less than 30 minutes because you don't have to drive up and down a bunch of the Andes Mountains. It says there, like I mentioned, it's in the middle of the central spine of the Andes, and about 170,000 residents. There is a big issue right now in Colombia with everything that's going on in Venezuela with immigration there. There's a large Venezuelan immigrant population. Ibagué, a lot of textiles. Tourism, just because now ecotourism is a really big deal. And right outside of Ibagué, there's canyons and rivers, and it's famous for bird watching, famous for, going and visiting waterfalls, things like that. Then also agriculture, like I mentioned, primarily rice and then fruits and vegetables. The problem is there's really limited economic opportunity because those are not high-paying occupations. And so one of the other brothers will mention that because of the economy there, a lot of people move in and out. It's not like there's a huge employer there that keeps a lot of people there. There's a lot of influx in and out of Ibagué. And so Ibagué, like I mentioned, is the capital of the department of Tolima. It is considered the musical capital of Colombia. So the largest and most prominent musical conservatory is there, which is how my wife Auda ended up in that city. And all around, lots of music. You see music signs everywhere. A lot of famous musicians have come through there. And it was actually named the musical capital of Colombia, we found out, from a French author that was traveling through Colombia 100 years ago. So it's not like they just put that hat on and named themselves that. I would tell you, there are some amazing things to see and do there. A lot of you have mentioned, hey, we would love to go down sometime. And Chris and Caleb and we spoke with the elders yesterday, have already said, but we'd love to plan another trip back. And it can be done pretty economically. I mean, it's a beautiful place. It would be a totally different experience for you. And it would be a blessing to your family. I know I loved having Auda and Rowan down there with us. And Rowan said, do I have to speak tonight? And I said, do you want to? And he goes, no. I said, okay, perfect. But he did a lot of interaction with the church there. There's a lot of young people in the church. It's a safe and friendly place. Colombians are generally very happy, have a joy for life. And the other brothers can speak about this, but I don't think they ever felt that they were in danger down there. So the thing that comes into your mind most of the time whenever somebody talks about Colombia, they want to talk about Pablo Escobar or cocaine or something like that. That's not a compliment to anyone, right? So this week, you will meet a Colombian. Instead of bringing that up, say, we have some friends from our church that were just there. They said the food was awesome, that there were cool fruits that don't exist anywhere else, that it was a beautiful place, that the people were friendly. I bet you'll meet a Colombian this week. And you could create a connection right here in Tampa with someone that you can say something positive, and something good can come from that. So I just want to plant that, because whenever I mention I'm going to Colombia, anyone asks me if I'm bringing back cocaine, and I'm like, I don't plan on it, but guys, that's not where we want to focus if we want to create a friendship and create some positives. So share something positive that you've heard, because just like when you're thinking about buying a new car, you start to see that new car. So this week you might come in contact with someone from Colombia and give the country a compliment and say, we have some friends from our church that just went there and spent a couple of weeks and said it was awesome. And see where that can go. Because it's a beautiful place, very good food, very diverse, lots of nature, and it's close to us. Bogota is technically same distance flying as New York, more or less, New York City. So wrapping up, just want to introduce Jose Luis that we support down there and his family. And this is a beautiful family. I met Jose Luis about 14 years ago. The last time I was in Ibagué was about 12 years ago. He grew up in Ibagué. He actually was converted and became a Christian there. And like many people, through needing to work and have some other opportunities, moved to the capital of Bogota and lived there for several years. And then met his wife, Marta, got married there, and I think, Chris, you were the one that said this about Marta. He said that she has the heart of Mary and the hands of Martha. They're just a servant couple. We were out to lunch, and you'll see some pictures of that. And I don't think they or their 3 sons sat down for 2 hours, because they were making sure people, drinks were filled, that they got their food, that the kids were having fun, introducing people to each other. And it's not because someone told them they had to do that. That's just what they're constantly engaged in and doing. So it was very cool to see. But Jose Luis grew up in Ibagué, moved to Bogota where he met Marta. She was baptized there. They met in the church there. And then as Ibagué did not have a preacher, for about a year, Jose Luis took the bus about 5.5 hours every Saturday, spent the night Saturday, would preach, do Bible study there Sunday, take the bus 5.5 hours back, and was kind of supported by some local people to do that. That's when we started supporting Jose Luis, and about 14 years ago, they moved back to Ibagué. That was not what Marta wanted to do, going from like the capital down there, and now she says she doesn't want to leave. And so they've lived in the same apartment for 14 years since they moved there. They have an older son and 2 twin sons, and they're all a lot of fun. I'll just have to admit, any of you would enjoy hanging out with this family just because their hearts are so fresh, they're encouraging. Juan David is 23 years old, used to be a really avid soccer player. COVID kind of ruined that progression for him because the shutdown was very hard in many places down there. Right now he's a professional athlete, is working as a personal trainer, is running, and he is the world record holder for most burpees done in an hour. So if you don't know what a burpee is, it's not burping, okay? It's a lot harder than that. And if you don't know what a burpee is, to be like the dude that has the most burpees done in an hour, any of you young guys in here, you'll know what that is. I don't know how, but he convinced Caleb to leave the apartment with him at 5:45 in the morning and go work out, and I was busy that morning. Danielle, 20 years old, he's studying English, is planning to work in business, and is really, out of anyone in the church in Ibagué, the best English speaker, and did some translating down there. Camilo, the other twin, was baptized in the last year, became a Christian, and he's also studying business and is active in the church there and doing some good things. But this is a beautiful family. You would love to get to know them better. The support that's being given to them down there, it's going a lot further than you'd think it would. There are some things that are very economic there, some things that are very expensive, but the amount of work that will be talked about of maintaining the church, visiting people, helping the community, there's a lot of room for growth there, but because of some of the situations in Ibagué, it does make it hard to grow. And I'm really proud to be a part of the support that's going to Jose Luis. So I'll just say, wrapping up, and I'll turn it over to Caleb, but I would encourage you, if you were one of the people that told Chris or Caleb or I that you would like to visit the church sometime, then let's keep that conversation open. I mean, it would probably be one of the best weeks you could take for a family vacation instead of, going to, I mean, it's no Great Wolf Lodge, but, I've never even been there. I don't know what that is. I just see it on Facebook all the time. But it's the kind of thing that we felt like every day going to bed, I was exhausted. I was speaking English, speaking Spanish, kind of stretches my brain. And we did full days, but we had a great time. I feel like we were very encouraging to the brethren there. And I also know I was very encouraged by being with the brethren there. So it's a beautiful area. You'll hear more about the specific work that went on. But there are people down there that love the Lord, that are doing some great things, that are moving forward. And Jose Luis and Marta and their boys have been active there, really pushing to help that church for the last 14 years. So that's kind of what I wanted to give, an introduction, and I'll turn it over to Caleb.
Hey, thank you, Cale, and good evening, everyone. Just want to add my appreciation to the elders and the congregation here for the support, the love, the prayers, the encouragement for us going down there. And it was great to spend time with Chris and Cale and Alda and Rowan. We're blessed here at Livingston to have those two families to be a part of us and everything that they do to support Jose Luis and his family down there. And we're happy to report, as Cale said, there's a great lampstand that's there in Ibagué. A lot of good Christians that love the Lord, and Jose Luis is a faithful and loving servant to the Lord. And I'll also add what Cale was saying. I would encourage anybody that wants to go, as Cale said, we recommended to the elders to do another trip, June of next year, so a year from now. It's very safe, very easy to get around. The people are very friendly, very open, and they feel like that they want to make that connection and be encouraged. So if you have that idea in your head, start thinking about it and think about that and talk about it with your family. I strongly encourage you to go. So my job, my responsibility over the next couple minutes is, just as we try to take all of you with us down to Ibagué, we're going to try to bring all of Ibagué back here and share with you a little bit about the congregation and the members. So the group down there in Ibagué, it started in 1989, and if I have the history of this group right, that's about 4 years after the group here at Livingston started. So the group started in 1989, about 20 to 25 people. They now have about 60 to 70 members there that are meeting on a regular basis. The Sunday that we were there were 75 in total that attended. It was literally standing room only. And you can kind of see from the picture that is there, it's not a nice, beautiful auditorium like this is. It's not designed to hold a congregation, but they make the best of it. That there is a sister that we'll see here in a minute, that she owns the building and she rents it out to the congregation. There's a livable space that's there as well, that is rented out to one of the sisters that attends. There are no elders at Ibagué, and so because of that, that puts a lot of pressure, burden on Jose Luis, that he carries a lot of that as the evangelist that is working there. There are mature men who are members of the congregation there, but as Cale talked about, because of the local economy, those men are outside of Ibagué or outside the country. One gentleman is actually in Poland in order to find work to support his family. Their evangelistic efforts, as they have grown over the years, over the last 15 years in particular, while Jose Luis has been there, is primarily by word of mouth, that the members there share the gospel with their family and their friends in order to encourage them to come to the Lord. You'll hear the word hermano or hermana very often, that they call each other brother and sister, that they truly have a family in Christ, and their relationship with Christ comes first. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the members that we were able to meet. We're not going to be able to talk about everybody, but we picked out a couple just to highlight for you. And the first one in the upper left-hand corner is Amparo Serrano. She is the first member, other than Jose and Luis and his wife Marta. When they picked us up from the airport, they took us straight to Amparo's house because she lent a car to us, and Chris will talk about his driving adventures in Ibagué, but she lent her car to us so that we could use that car while we were there. She's in her mid-70s, very hospitable. We got to sit in her apartment for about 30 minutes and talk with her, get to know her a little bit better. Very hospitable. While we were there, she offered us something to drink. She became a Christian about 15 years ago, and then she stopped attending for a while, and where she was attending in Ibagué was the other congregation. There is a second congregation in Ibagué, about 30 to 35 members there. They meet in what's called the Jordan part of the neighborhood. So she stopped attending there, and then about 2 years ago, she started attending again with the group there where Jose Luis is. So we got to meet and enjoy her presence for a little bit. And then just to the right of her is her sister, Luz Serrano. She is not a Christian. She has been studying with Jose Luis for a while now. She says she wants to be baptized, but she has not made that decision. For some reason, she stopped studying recently with Jose Luis, but she was there Monday night when we did a Bible study where we shared the gospel, the plan of salvation. And so she was there Monday night, and afterwards she told Jose Luis that she wants to restart the studies with him. So we are praying for that. Berta, in the upper right-hand corner, Berta, she lives in the building where the congregation meets. She lives in the livable space. She moved to Ibagué recently from Bogota, and while she was making that transition from Bogota to Ibagué, Jose Luis and Marta had her in their house, that she stayed with them while she was looking for a place to live. In the lower left-hand corner is Mauricio. Mauricio is the brother of Jose Luis. He has 3 kids, John Anderson, Melanie, and the last brother's name is Samuel. So he has 3 kids. He drives Uber, and he works a lot of hours. He works 6 days a week, works a lot of hours during the day. But every single event that we had there, so we had the youth study on Saturday, Friday night was Bible study, worship on Sunday, and then we had a Bible study Monday night. Every event, he had his kids there. He was there. So very dedicated, made comments in Bible study, very supportive of Jose Luis. Pilar, in the bottom middle, she owns a business, a clothing business out of her home. She hosted the Bible study on Monday night. And in the back section of where the Bible study was, they had converted the courtyard to have an overhang that her grandfather, who originally owned the house, wanted that to be used for the members. And so they had dedicated that space. And so we had about, I think, 31 people on Monday night that he wanted it to be used for the Lord. And she actually made some comments at the hacienda, the potluck, on Sunday afternoon that we'll talk about here in just a minute. And then in the lower right-hand corner is Andres and Monica, their daughters Veronica and Nomi. He is a brake mechanic for large trucks. He works 6 days a week, so he is able to be there on Sunday, but he has to work a lot as well. On Sunday morning for worship service, he gave the Lord's Supper talk, and then he also did closing prayer. He is the only other male leader there at the congregation, according to Jose Luis, but he is younger, if you will. So Jose Luis works with him, but he is continuing to develop. A couple other members just to highlight. Alejandro is in the upper left-hand corner. He's married and has a daughter. She is 15. He's an EMT driver that he goes out on rescues in remote areas of Colombia and literally puts his life at risk. That he told us a couple stories where he almost lost his life, where his truck was sliding off the side of the mountain. So very, very interesting. He was able to laugh and joke about it, but very, very serious business. His wife actually works for the same, what I would call EMT company. She works on the administration side. He moved to Ibagué from Bogota as well, was searching for the truth, and ran into one of his friends from school who was a Christian and started sharing the gospel with him. And so he found the truth, found the gospel, was baptized. He and his wife were baptized, and she now teaches some of the children's classes. Sebastian in the upper middle section, he's an 18-year-old sophomore. He's going to university. He's studying to be a physical education director. He is not a Christian. This was his first time attending, that he is dating one of the young ladies there at Ibagué. So that would have been Saturday at the youth study that Chris did. That was the first time he had attended anything with the congregation at Ibagué. But he was there Saturday, he was there Sunday for services, and then he came back Monday night for the Bible study, and he got to hear the gospel as well. And we continue to communicate with him since we've returned. And then Marlene Bermudez, she is in the upper right-hand corner. It may be hard to see. This is the sister that owns the building and rents out the building to the congregation. You can see that she's on a bed there. She is ill. She was not able to attend on Sunday. So Jose Luis is there saying a prayer for her. But we got to talk with her just very briefly. And then there were actually two sisters that she lives not too far from the hacienda where we had the potluck on Sunday afternoon. There were two sisters that were walking up the road to see her as well. And there were many members that came and visited her because of the love that they have for her. In the lower left-hand corner is Rocky Riveros. So Rocky, if you can see the picture, he's got what I call a contraption. It's like a jack-in-the-box that he's got that hangs from his neck. And then Chris is there holding two poles, and he asks you to hold the two poles, and then he runs his contraption, and he's trying to electrocute you. It's electricity that is running, and he went around to everybody Sunday afternoon at the potluck and did that. And then he tried to go around a second time, and we told him, you can fool me once, but you can't fool me twice. But Roki, he has a shop in the local marketplace. He sells shoelaces, shoe insoles, keychains, and time on his cell phone. Very interesting personality. I say that he has a shocking personality. Pablo in the middle there, middle bottom, he's a mechanic. He shares the gospel with coworkers by playing sermons over the shop radio. And then Viviano Riveros, she is the daughter of Roki, and she has two daughters, an eight-year-old Sophia, 3-year-old Salome. She is recently separated from her husband, that he was unfaithful, and so now she is on her own. When Chris goes through his section, that's going to be a common theme that you're going to hear. There are a lot of unfaithfulness. What I will tell you as I close out this section here is anybody here that wants to connect with the members at Ibigay, the elders have asked us to encourage that. These individuals, these brothers and sisters in Ibigay, they would love to hear from you. They would love to make a connection with you. So if you would like to make a connection with them, please reach out to Chris, Cale, or myself. We'll make sure that we get that connected. All right, I am already way over. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. The summary of this slide is there were 6 sessions that we had while we were down there. We had a Bible study on Friday night. We had the youth session on Saturday afternoon. Then we had worship service Sunday morning, where we had Bible class and then worship service. And then there was a devotional Sunday afternoon, and then Bible study Monday night. So we had 6 sessions, and each of us got to do 2 of those sessions. So if you have any questions about what was done while we were there, come see us afterwards. So here are 2 quick videos of congregational singing, and see if you can figure out what songs are being sung. So let's see if this works. Any guesses what that is? It's As the Deer. So as the deer. So then the second one. Any guesses? Yeah, the great physician. The great physician now is near. Yeah, the great physician. So that's what that is. All right, I'm going to keep going so that we don't run out of time. There were 35 families, most from this congregation. There were some other members from other congregations that gave money. There was 35 families that gave us a total of $3,370. So thank you for that. We really appreciate those funds. We provided a detailed summary to the elders yesterday of how those funds were used. Here's a quick summary of what it went towards. Friday night, we took some of the youth out to pizza. On Saturday, after the youth Bible study, Jose Luis rented a soccer field that, as you can imagine, football is big down there, and they are really good football players, soccer players. And so we had time to be able to do that. We printed out the classroom materials that Crystal provided, and special thanks to Crystal for all the time and effort that she put together, pulling together all those children's class materials. And so we printed that, or part of it, out while we were there. There's so much material, we ran out of time. And the place where we took it, they were running it on 4 printers to try to speed it up. We just took over the place. So we printed that material out. Then we're also going to use that money towards Bible study materials that Charlie King got the permission from Wilson Adams to be able to print out his 12 Choices book that some of you are going through right now in the classes. So Chris was able to translate that, get that translated into Spanish. So that's going to be printed out for Bible study materials for them. And that's at the cost of $2 per book, so not very expensive. And then the hacienda on Sunday afternoon, so a potluck. So of all the congregational members, those 75 people, they only have 3 cars amongst all of them. So Jose Luis rented 2 buses to be able to go to the hacienda, rented a place out. We had that catered. And the reason we did that is the congregation does not get to spend much time together. It's not like here where we can maybe go to someone's house or go rent out a facility and all be able to spend time together. There, they do not get to spend much time together just because of circumstances and distance, etc. So we spent money towards that. And Pilar, who we talked about before, she actually made a comment while we were at the hacienda. She said, I really appreciate doing this and having this time together because I don't get this much encouragement and support. So it really made an impact on the people there at Ibagué. Many of you provided clothing. So here are pictures from Jose Luis as he passed out the clothing to the children. So they are very appreciative of that. And so with that, they have sent us a video of appreciation. So I'm going to play that, and while I'm playing that, I'll get down, and then Chris will come up.
We wanted to say something. Beforehand, I would like to introduce my family. This is my father, Jose Luis. This is my mother, Marta Isabel. This is my oldest brother, Juan David. And this is my youngest brother, Javier Andres. And Daniel. We would like to say that it was a great joy to have you with us this time. May the Lord reward your efforts, encouragement, and love for this family and the church in Ibagué, Colombia. We love you in the love of the Lord, in the love of the Lord in Jesus Christ. And now my father is going to say some words in English, though he doesn't know how to speak English well, but he's going to try to do his best.
Thank you, beloved brothers on Livingston Avenue. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sorry, I accidentally hit the button too soon. So that video is really special. We didn't expect them. We didn't know that they were going to do that for us. And, to see them extend to try to speak in English just shows, I think, the care that they have and the appreciation. Hopefully you could see that on the Martinez family, the appreciation. So thank you. I just want to extend my thanks to the congregation here and for the elders for sending and allowing me to go down there and to spend a few days. I wanted to share a couple things real quick, just some other highlights. Some of this will echo some of Cale's remarks, but Colombia is an absolutely beautiful country. My wife and I like to travel around the United States, and we've seen many amazing places. I would say this is like taking the climate of Hawaii and smashing it with the mountains of North Carolina. Like, that's pretty beautiful, in terms of scenery and in terms of things that you can do. They do have, we were talking on Saturday night at dinner. I was like, do they have any natural disasters here? And they're like, well, they have earthquakes. And then Sunday morning, as we're getting ready for church, there was an earthquake. Floridians are not, we are used to natural disasters here. I will say that being in the 9th floor, feeling like the building might tip over, is very different than having wind blow against our house and watching trees come down. I would much rather watch trees come down than feel like the building I'm in might come down. And we were 200 kilometers or something like that away from where the earthquake, the epicenter, was actually at. And so this was considered a very mild one. And they've said they lived there for 15 years. And this is only the second time they've ever felt one. So it's not common. So we got something special while we were there, which is pretty good. One other thing I'll just highlight is the food. Like, I'm not the most adventurous eater. I actually asked AI before I went. I was like, what do I need to prepare myself for? Because I don't want to be, rude. And AI started listing out all the things that they eat in Colombia. And I was like, check, this sounds amazing. And it was truly amazing. I will say, though, if you're traveling with Cale, you get a different kind of trip experience because the type of food that he likes or that he likes to try, help push me outside of my comfort zone on many occasions. The picture in the middle there on the right side is a picture of inside of a cocoa husk. So these are like where chocolate comes from. I love chocolate. But inside of each of those little white things, it's kind of hard to see, is where the cocoa bean is. And so animals break the husk open, and then they eat the fruit that's on the outside of it, leaving the seed behind, and that's how it continues to go. And so they give us these things, and I'm holding it in my hand. It kind of feels like snot, like it's like slimy, and they're like, you put it in your mouth and you suck on it. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this, right? And so, after a while, I did put it in my mouth, and it tastes like a sucker. I'm like, this is like nature's sucker, because it just slowly dissolves in your mouth, and it's fruity, and it's actually very flavorful. But there was many things that were like that Cale got and pushed me to eat. Marta also made for us a bunch of traditional Colombian dishes. Everything there is like fresh and like homemade. They make their own juices, and they serve them. They press their own grape juice for the Lord's Supper. It was thick. I was like, what is this that I'm drinking at first? And it's like, well, it's just grapes juiced up, because they don't sell juices in the same way that we would get here. And they have this interesting oat drink called Havana that is like all over in different types, and it's amazing. So if you're ever worried about traveling to a place and what are you going to eat, Colombia is a beautiful place to go. I found tons of great food, and I never had an issue. Caleb mentioned about driving. I'll just maybe share one thing. Cale drove almost the entire time, which is great. It is like low-speed traffic. It's like 2 or 3 cars go into an intersection. Only one gets to emerge, but they all just like shove themselves in, and then they get really close to each other, and then they just find their way. I didn't see really any accidents. There was hardly any police officers there. It was kind of an interesting thing. I did get to drive one time. Cale wasn't feeling well one evening, and it was a thrill. I love driving stuff like that. So, all right. So I'm gonna transition us to talk about some of the spiritual lessons that we took away from the trip. First thing I want to highlight is we saw just like a pure form of hospitality. This focus on serving others over self. There wasn't, is my home big enough? Because the homes were not big enough. It wasn't, is it clean enough? Because it wasn't that way. The focus is just on people and bringing people together in fellowship around. There was the picture that Caleb showed earlier on Monday night when he was at the house of Pilar. They have their seamstress shop in the front. You walk through that to get to this back area. It's where there's laundry basins, and there's laundry soap that's out there where they must do their clothes washing. People are sitting on concrete walls. There's a single fluorescent light that's like hanging down. The wall is like half painted probably 40 years ago. But that didn't stop them. And they were excited and proud and eager to have people over to their home. And so just a lesson is just the focus is on people. And so we just saw hospitality right in front of us. We saw people living simple, unmaterialistic lives. They don't have cars. We were needing to help try to provide some chairs for the classroom, the kids' classroom. And in the store that we're at, we're like, well, we could get these. And they said, no, that's too much. They said, we'll just go get some plastic chairs. Like, plastic is like, chairs perfect. It moves around, they stack really easy, and they're cheap. And so aesthetics is just not what they're concerned about. They're not taking like a nice thing, tearing it down just to make it a little bit nicer, because they don't have the ability to do that, and that's not where it is. Their focus was, and I thought that was beautiful to see. The third thing we saw is just this first generation faith. I mean, I know all Christians are first generation, but in terms of new converts, families of new converts coming in, and that brings and makes some messy things in the congregation. Because people come out of worldly lives. They don't have a lot of great examples that they grew up in. There's not even always a lot of great examples in the church. But we did find an eagerness and a hunger to learn. Pablo, one of the things he said to me is what he loves about the brethren is that they are committed. He said, in a world where so few people are ready to commit to anything, he's like, here people are committed for life. And I just thought that was beautiful. We saw how important family is. Families are under attack from Satan there. It's not just there, it's all over, but it's very evident there. Without strong families, you could see it in the children's faces. You could see it in their families. You also, without strong families, you lose the opportunity to have elders and deacons, and the stability that can provide to a congregation. We did see bright lights. In the congregation, Jose Luis's family, Andres and his wife, there are some good examples that are there. But much of the middle age, men and women, those families have blown apart for various reasons over time. And so there is very few couples, whether elderly or middle-aged, worshiping together. The last thing just is perseverance of the faith, right? We saw how faith can overcome and even thrive in these dark and difficult circumstances as people quietly seek to do good. This group makes up less than 0.01% of the population of Ibagué, but they continue every week to worship. They continue to teach. They continue to evangelize and to show brotherly love to one another. And God continues to provide them increase there in the city. It reminds me much of Paul when he goes to Corinth and he sees a very worldly city, and you could look around you and say, it doesn't seem like there's many people here. But God says, but there are. And Paul spent the second most time of any city that he was at was there in Corinth, and people came to the Lord. And so it was a great thing to see. In terms of ways that we can help encourage and support them, first in prayer, there are three main things, right? Wisdom for leadership. Jose Luis has got to go through a number of difficult circumstances and navigate it through largely on his own. And so pray for him and the wisdom and the courage and the graciousness to handle difficult personal situations in a way that helps instruct, admonish, and turn souls to Christ and to restore souls to Christ. Pray for leadership development among the men and the women there, that they can grow in their faith and take more roles in service and in teaching. Stability for the families, that God would put a hedge around them from Satan's attack, that he would reach the hearts of some of these erring brothers and sisters, that they would repent and turn back to their faith and their covenant relationships, and fundamentally just set aside personal desires and instead serve one another as Christ has served us. In terms of other opportunities, we've already mentioned a few times, we want to go back again. You can see that they genuinely appreciated us being there. He mentioned next time, maybe a little bit longer, trying to do something more of like a workshop orientation or teaching session. If some wives could come down, it could potentially be a great way to have some lessons on marriage and on families and just examples of how to do basic things and overcome difficulties together as a couple. Jose Luis could benefit from more fellowship. Like he was not educated to be a preacher. He liked to teach Bible classes, and he just started because there was a need. And so he's just done it, and he's helped shoulder a lot of the load in this congregation. He expressed an interest in trying to connect more, both for his own growth and development. He is comfortable with Zoom, if that's something that you're interested in, and he has the patience to work through translation tools. And those tools quite frankly, are getting better every day. And some of the features that are being released into some of these things will soon enough be translating live as you speak, and you'll hardly have much of a lag between it. And he desires our continued support so he can continue to focus his time on the work of the Lord there in Ibagué. Some lessons for our congregations as we close. First, on hospitality. Pilar and Marta's example were great, right? It's about the heart. It's not about the house. And so may God help us to not let materialistic things prevent us from the fellowship that he wants for us in Christ. Second lesson, serving others. We saw examples in the Martinez family who were the first to serve and the last to be served. I was humbled. We have a congregation that serves. There's tons and tons of people serve. If you've got a need, I was still humbled by them. And I was humbled to see how much their kids were doing it without any prompting. A 19, 20-year-old, 24-year-old spending hours helping serve other people was an impressive example to me. Even when other of their peers were having fun, they were largely still serving others. And I was like, I need to help teach that to my children. The third thing, just prioritize marriage. I take for granted, quite frankly, how many strong marriages we have in this congregation, how many strong marriages have been around me, my life, even though I grew up in a broken home. Strong marriages create stronger children, create stronger churches, create stronger societies, and Satan hates every bit of it. And he knows that if he can take one parent and make them stumble, he can knock over a whole bunch of dominoes in people's lives, in children's lives, in congregations' lives, in society. So protect your marriage. Be grateful for the examples that we have. And I would just say, if we see people struggling, let us not judge, but let us help. Because it is an important institution that is honorable for all. And the last thing maybe I'll share is just, we are making a difference. You are making a difference through the work and the financial support that we have provided for many years to the saints in Ibagué. We have allowed Jose Luis to preach the gospel without worrying about his day-to-day. He doesn't have much, but he's had enough. And there's been very difficult times, and Marta, his wife, has supported him. On the last night that we were there, we were kind of going over and presenting some of the things that the congregation had given to him and some of the funds that had been provided. And I watched as he and Marta were breaking down into tears. And I don't handle emotional things very well. In those moments, I want to run and flee because I'm I don't know what to do. But as I sat there and I watched them, it was just seeing the love and appreciation for the love of this group for them. They felt so touched that we would come all the way down just to see them, meet them, get to know them, and that then we would provide for things that they didn't even ask for. And so it was humbling to kind of see, they are a family who loves God. God loves them, but God uses people to express his love. And I got a chance to have this front row, super awkward seat to watching God's love flow from you guys to them. And it was beautiful. It's not a video camera moment or anything, but I just don't want you ever to think don't ever let Satan downplay the impact that you guys are having in the lives of this family and in the lives of the people that they're touching there in Ibagué. So, the last thing, I just want to say thank you. On behalf of Kale, and myself, you have to have a C if you're going to go to Colombia. in your name. But I want to read from Philippians 4, chapter 10, chapter 4, starting in verse 10. Paul's letter to the Philippians is a little bit different than some of his other letters because he's not just admonishing the church and instructing the church, but this is one where he's also expressing his thankfulness. And so I want to read Philippians 4:10 and express it in some ways like of our trip. He says, "But I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at last your care for me has flourished again. Though you surely did care, but you lacked opportunity. Not that I speak in regard to need, for I have learned in whatever state that I am to be content. I know how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere in all things I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Nevertheless, you have done well that you have shared in my distress. Now you Philippians know also that in the beginning of the gospel, when I departed from Macedonia, no church shared with me concerning giving and receiving, but you only. For even in Thessalonica you sent aid once and again for my necessities. Not that I seek the gift, but I seek the fruit that abounds to your account. Indeed, I have all and abound, and I am full, having received from Epaphroditus the things sent from you, a sweet-smelling aroma, an acceptable sacrifice, well-pleasing to God. And may God, and my God, shall supply all of your needs according to his riches in the glory by Jesus Christ. Now to our God and Father be glory forever and ever. Amen."
Thanks so much to everybody for being here tonight. We appreciate Cale and Caleb and Chris as they've given this presentation for us to let us know what was going on in the trip there. And we're very thankful for you guys making the sacrifice to be a part of that trip and to go and support the brethren that we've been supporting and allowing to extend that fellowship. Thank you very much. And a special appreciation, because at least one of them must listen to Text Talk, because I'm wearing my Wednesday Columbia socks. So I can sometimes wear my Wednesday socks on Sunday, and that's a great blessing. So joining with you guys in that. Let's have a couple of songs, and then Brother Tim Sloan is going to share with us some things that we need to take with us and remember, and then we'll have our closing prayer. Number 793. Number 793. The gospel is for all. Number 786, Send the Light. Number 786, Send the Light.
Thank you so much for that presentation. It really brings you closer. Can't imagine just 3 cars in the whole congregation. We are so blessed here in this country. So we are sending people. We've been to the Philippines. I think we've got some Africa, going to Africa. I don't even know where Liberia is, but if you want to volunteer for Liberia, we'll get with you. See us if you're interested in that kind of work. I've pre-registered for the Hawaii group. We don't support anybody there yet, but I'm looking, so we'll get there. The Lord's Supper has been left in A6 behind me, immediately following the prayer. This coming Sunday, since it's ahead of time, is the singing at the Renaissance facility at 3 o'clock. So if you plan on being there next Sunday, that's coming. A couple of people I'd like to mention here. Ryan